I thought it was a party, but that's really what it was. So they was trying to hook you up with these little Ethiopian females. And that's how I met my first Ethiopian wife, was at one of the functions. Okay. And shit. So I started trying to help her out. Basically I was just trying to help her get home, But she looked like a supermodel. That helped. Woo! Yeah, she was fine. She was fine. But she was a headhunter at the end of the day. So a headhunter is basically somebody that's looking specifically for a foreigner, right? They feel like you're going to be the ticket. Tickets for them financial. Okay. Right? So, you're going to support them, and indirectly you're going to support their family. Right? And I was there making like, I'm not trying to, do all that. I'm looking for some genuine shit. Like, cause she was so fire, I went down that avenue, trying to see how the shit, was gonna work out. And then I started going to, Ethiopia. But that only happened out where, you be over there shit. Sometimes shit happen. So you over there raw and shit sometimes. You know how you have one of them days when you like, man, goddamn, it was a moment. You just knocking it down. You just come back like, oh, you like, oh shit, we in the Middle East. Bitch, you can't be over this mother pregnant. God damn. Over our ass finna be on the chopping block, our shit, cause they up like that. Yeah. So long story short, nigga wanna do the right thing, and I went down the avenue and, got her up out of there, back to Ethiopia. And she was pregnant with my son who's now with me here. And he's like 17. Unfortunately, she passed away. That's why he ended up being here. I mean, with me, you know what I mean? But I say that. Yeah, it was hard, man. It was a shock to my sister. He is his mama, Yeah. I feel me? Right. So for me, yeah, she was like trifling this shit. Up. But on that tip, it's his mom, you ain't never gonna speak on your child's mom in that way. At least I was raised that way. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your issue, that's you and her, but it's his mom. So, it's very painful situation for him. But hey, Pop is here. But, that's why I ended up going to Ethiopia so many different times, because I had to get her up out of that country. And then I had to marry her, make sure that when she went home to her family, you know what I'm saying, she was straight. Yeah. She didn't come home looking like a because that shit is serious for them so far as a coach. Right. Shaming the family. It could result or end up resulting in other shit happening to her as a result of you come here shaming the family, looking like they giving up and getting pregnant and shit. What the wrong with you? That's how they see that shit. Yeah. So I did the right thing, but she wasn't acting right, bro. So I had to 86 that shit. And then, move on to the next, chapter in my life. And then I stayed in this building in Kuwait. At this point, now I'm living on the economy. No more on the camp and all this kind of shit. I got my own crib. I'm living, this is like a normal. I'm going to the grocery store and doing all this other shit, living. Yeah. And I had like a couple of housemaids and shit, because you were in that 12-hour shift. So I had a lady come in, clean up my apartment. Sometimes she would make me meals and stuff like that. Beautiful situation, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got one that gave you little friends, benefits, you know what I mean? So, you can get comfortable. Yeah. And then, I got kind of comfortable, living like all that kind of stuff. But in that building, there were other Americans, right, who were married to different women from different countries and all this kind of shit. And they was living there too. And I had a neighbor, his name was James, right? He was big nigga, man. Always sauced up and shit. That's why I just pull in and just hype, and then they were trying to wait for him to get on the elevator to my flat and shit. But his wife, they brought my wife, which is his wife's sister, over to help them when she was having a baby. So that's how my wife ended up in Kuwait. So she was there to help her sister. Gotcha. Right. And so living in the building, I was still, every now and then, but she was skinny, man, like a string bean. She, you know, she didn't really have the assets. She was real cute. Real cute, big head, you know, pretty little face. But the body wasn't like banging like the 4th of July. So that was just shit, right? But later on, though they said on the skinny girl, you took on skinny man down the line.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
they come full circle. Booyah.
Yeah.
She full circle now. But yeah, man, that's how, you know, that's how I met her. You know, the dude, he got ready to leave Kuwait, him and his wife, and she wasn't ready to leave, so she left and went to stay with some other folks or some shit like that. And she was still working. And just incidentally coming in from work, I saw her out there, you know, one day, getting out, you know, up the car from work and shit. I was like, oh, yeah. I thought you was gone. She was like, no. They left. Oh. So that's how we started talking.
Guys.
So we started talking, having a little coffee here and there and all that kind of stuff. And things progressed, you know. And, you know, we ended up, you know, getting married over there and everything. And then my first son, Matthew, was born there in Kuwait. And then my daughter, Lizella, you know, the second baby, she was born in Kuwait.
Yes.
And, you know, we was just living over there, you know. And, you know, life was life. You know, we went here and there, and I still went on vacation every now and then, you know, to get up out of Kuwait.
Yeah.
You know, and I went to my favorite spot, Thailand. But it was, it became really, really, you know, like normalized. It had got to the point where I didn't even, it was like in my mind, I wasn't coming back this way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, traveling abroad, you start to learn shit from watching other people, right? And you start finding out how they move it. So I was seeing these people go places like Thailand, Sri Lanka, and for the money, they was getting these micro mansions and shit. Real laid cribs.
Yeah.
They had drivers, maids,
Yeah.
all this shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, for that money, man, it was like, okay, you can live like this.
Right.
This side of the pond.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay over here and live like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that really was my plan is, you know, I'm gonna give me a spot either in Thailand or Belize or some other place, but I wasn't coming back to the world. I got comfortable over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I can see that happening, man. Because, I mean, even myself, you know, I've been fortunate enough to have a high rise before here in Atlanta. And I know how much I was paying for that a month. But I remember I went over to DR actually last year.
DR, okay.
I went over to DR last year, and one of the buddies that went over to DR with me, he was talking to me about Thailand, and he was showing me a high rise he had and stayed over in Thailand for a moment. And it was looking over the water. He told me how much he was paying a month.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how much I paid for a high rise here. And when you're looking over the water, I said, man, that made me think different. Like, man,
That shit is real. And then the food.
absolutely.
I mean, really, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, the reason I didn't want to go to Ethiopia because I went there like about 25 times, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, like with my first wife and shit,
Yeah.
they took me off in the hood. Okay. And so I'm like, God damn. It's like a metal, like, petition or some shit. They got this little area, and they got these little houses and shit, and people living in there. It's like the micro village, micro community. So I threw off in there, man, and first thing for me is they cooking food and shit for kitchen at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ain't no goddamn kitchen.
Yeah.
Washing their hands and shit. I'm starting to think about all kind of shit.
You know, thinking the same thing.
I'm like, I'm there, you know, my damn fucking bladder about to bust and shit. I gotta piss, and I'm like, is there a bathroom? And they're like, oh, no. You have to wait till you go back to the hotel. What? My shit about to explode over here. You know, goddamn, ain't a tree in that shit.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, oh, this is real up there right here.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that was crazy was, you ever been on somebody's house and they got roaches and shit? And you see the crawling all over the goddamn place, and you looking in, you feeling like, am I the only mother that see roaches and shit? Ain't nobody reacting to right?
Yeah.
But you like, God,
Yeah. They used to, they super.
So, yeah, they got a spread of shit, salad, and all this other shit.
Yeah.
You know, And I'm looking at all these roaches and shit, and they crawling all over shit, man. I'm like,
What the
ain't nobody trying to kill these man. It's just like they don't took on his shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm like, ain't no way I'm finna eat some shit off in this. You know,
The same way.
I don't know if that's a raisin or one of them damn roaches.
Hey there, this is Gerald Bass, G Bass, with the Rise of 1% podcast. Just wrapped up a phenomenal episode of the Rise of 1% podcast. And listen, here, everyone has a story. And I know you have a story. And then you have a story, and you want to share your story. You want to share your journey. You want to share things that you currently got going on right now. Get your message out to the masses of people. Definitely love to have you here on the Rise of the 1% podcast. Being you would love to be one of our guests or one of our next guests on the Rise of the 1% podcast, definitely email us at support@riseofthe1%.com. Again, email us at support@riseofthe1%.com. Just leave your information. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your story, a little bit about your journey, what you have going on. And we definitely love to have a conversation about you being a guest on one of our upcoming episodes of the Rise of the 1% podcast. But that said, this is G Bass with the Rise of the 1%. Have a phenomenal one on purpose.